It all began with small shifts, barely noticeable at first, but enough to make something in me pause. Amira and I had been inseparable for over 3 years. We met in college, fell hard, fast, and deep, the kind of relationship people admired. By our second year together, I had proposed. She said yes with tears in her eyes and joy in her voice. Everyone called us a perfect match. Her family treated me like their own, and mine embraced her as if she had always been part of it. Everything was in place for our wedding. Spring was meant to mark a new chapter for us. Venue booked, dress fitted, invitation sent. But underneath all the celebration, something didn't feel right. She began changing the password on her phone. No big deal, I told myself at first. People change passwords. Then came the late-night study sessions that didn't align with her grad school calendar. She'd leave looking overly done up, full makeup hairstyled, claiming she was just headed to the library. I wanted to believe her. I needed to. When you love someone, you start convincing yourself that doubt is just insecurity. But love should never require blindness. One evening, on a whim, I decided to surprise her. I picked up her favorite coffee, hazelnut oat milk, no sugar, and drove to her place. Her car was parked out front. The lights were on. I knocked. No answer. I stood there for a moment, coffee in hand, heart heavy. I returned to my car and waited in silence. 20 minutes later, a man emerged from her apartment, well-dressed, confident. She stood in the doorway, smiled, and kissed him on the cheek before watching him leave. I didn't move. I didn't cry. I just sat there and watched the truth walk out her front door. The next day, I said nothing. I greeted her as usual, kissed her forehead, and asked how her study session had gone. She smiled, held my hand, and lied right to my face. That's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I focused on the people I respected the most, her parents. Her father was a principled man, quiet, strong, deeply rooted in tradition. Her mother was warm and graceful, always offering me tea and asking about my work. They treated me like a son. I couldn't let them give their blessing to a marriage built on deception. So I started gathering the truth, not for revenge, but for clarity. In the days that followed, I collected everything. Screenshots of messages, photos, hotel confirmations, dinner bookings. I found texts that made me sick, her calling him by the same sweet name she used with me. This wasn't some new fling. This was an affair in full bloom. A week before the wedding, her parents hosted a dinner, a final celebration before the big day. Both families together under one roof, laughter and love in the air. She looked radiant, hair perfect, wearing a dress I hadn't seen before, glowing like nothing was wrong. Midway through dinner, her father stood to toast the future. Glasses clinked, smiles beamed. When he sat down, I stood up. I thanked everyone for being there. Then I pulled a small envelope from my coat pocket and handed it to her father. I think there's something you should see before we move forward, I said. He opened it slowly. Inside were printed copies of everything, messages, photos, dates. Evidence, clear and undeniable. The table fell silent. Her mother's hand rose to her mouth. Her father's face went pale as he turned through each page. Amira sat frozen. "This isn't real," she whispered. But it was. And it was hers. I spoke softly, just loud enough for the table to hear. "I don't want to shame you. I don't want a scene. But I couldn't let you bless a marriage based on betrayal." She tried to respond, but her father held up his hand. His voice was steady. "Until you understand what fidelity and respect mean, you are not welcome in our home." I left before she could follow. The wedding was called off that same week. No drama, no gossip. Her parents quietly reached out to mine, apologizing, explaining enough without revealing everything. The venue was canceled. Invitations retracted. She tried reaching out to me, calls, texts, emails. I never answered, because sometimes the greatest justice isn't anger or cruelty. It's letting someone face the consequences of their own choices while you walk away, whole, quiet, and free. I never raised my voice. I never exposed her to the world. I just made sure the ones who truly mattered knew the truth. And that moment, when her entire lie unraveled in front of the people she trusted most. That silence was louder than anything I could have screamed. I'm at peace now, and next time, I won't silence the voice in my gut that tried to protect me from the start.